Welcome back to Just Drawz. This is part two and the conclusion of our conversation on 50-50. If you have not listened to part one yet, pause this, go back, get caught up, and get the full context. But if you are locked in and ready to go, let's not waste any time. Let's get into it.
What's good, fam? And welcome to Just Drawz. This is a show hosted by two Black gay men who are smart, sometimes funny, and not afraid to say the quiet parts out loud.
We talk life, love, sex, culture, mental health, politics, pop culture,
and everything in between. So whether you're here to laugh, learn, heal, or just feel seen,
you're in the right place. We've had this conversation about dating before between the two of us on the podcast. And, like you said, Raymond, like if I initiate the date, then my expectation is I'm going to pay for the date. And you don't have to worry about it because I've got everything planned. It's my idea. I'm not going to have that expectation that, the other guy is going to pay for it if I was dating someone, if I was out there in the dating world now, even though I'm in a relationship. Now, as I'm in a relationship, we kind of trade things off. Like it'll be like, hey, if it's a date, I may pay for everything, he may pay for everything. Or it may be like something impromptu. And it's like, okay, well, let's go to the movies. We go to the movies, do that. And, the check comes for dinner after we leave the movies. And, one of us will pay for it. And it never feels like, oh, I'm doing more or I'm not doing enough and I got to catch up and this, that, and the other. And so I think it's important that when it comes to gay men, that they kind of understand that responsibility when you're in a relationship kind of ebbs and flows. Now, it may be a little bit different when you're, out here dating and trying to establish that relationship or before you get to the long-term relationship part. So I do want to put Darius on the spot here, even though that I know
I'm
pretty
ready.
much what your
Let's go.
I was waiting. Just to remind,
Know my body. I was waiting. Let's go.
Just to remind our viewers
Yes.
your stance on when it comes down to when the check comes for the date.
Okay, let's go. So the way I feel about first dates, and I just had this conversation with Anjeleigh actually, right before we kind of got on. But when it comes to a first date, the way I feel about a first date is I think a first date should be Dutch. I'd like to go Dutch on a very first date. If it's the first time we're meeting, all of that stuff, I'd like to go Dutch because that is an opportunity. That first date for me is an opportunity for me to feel out the vibe, to see how we're going to mesh together, all of those things. And I'm really big on investment. And if I'm going to make an investment of $100, $200 on a date, I'm going to want it to go past that one time. I don't want to just kind of throw that money away because I already don't eat a whole lot. So if the majority of the bill is going to be you and I feel like the vibe is there and everything, I don't mind paying. If it's like, okay, hey, let's do this again. But if it's a situation where we're just meeting and we're having good conversation, but you kind of feel in the midst of the date that it's not really going to go anywhere past this other than maybe just casual conversation or you and that person just being double taps, then I'm like, okay, then we should pay our own way. And so that's why I'm like, okay, I like to go Dutch the first time around so that when we say, all right, cool, let's do this again. Then the next time we do it, then we start to figure out, okay, hey, I'll plan something or I will.
My treat.
Yeah, it'll be my treat. Yeah, this time. And then, you'll pay next time or whatever, however that goes. But I'm really kind of big on that. And there are a lot of people who I have dated or a lot of people I've gone on dates with who do not rock with that like at all. They're like, well, you initiated. And I'm like, well, did I really initiate? Or did I just say, hey, let's meet, somewhere. Maybe we can grab food. I don't consider that me asking you out on a date. And maybe that's the linguist in me. I think that if I said, hey, let's go out, or hey, I want to take you out, that's me asking you out on a date. But if I'm just like, hey, let's meet for the first time, or let's find a time to meet and let's just, let's maybe grab food.
Yeah, clarity is your friend. So you have to
It
say,
is.
hey,
it is. Clarity is my friend. And what's the other part to that?
and let's go Dutch, just because this is the first time we hanging out together. I might like the food, you may not like the food, so let's work this out on however you couch that. And then what you said, later, if we still feeling each other and I want to see you again, I'll be like, hey, let's do this and my treat and see what happens from there.
Yeah. Communication is our partner. Clarity is our friend. That's what it is.
Exactly. Exactly.
In those traditional roles of what a man should do, we are taught from younger ages. Girl, if he want to take you out somewhere, he's supposed to pay. And if he doesn't pay, then he's cheap. And then you get to be a certain age, and it's, I guess the vibe that you get from a man that takes you out is he's going to pay and you going to pay.
But traditionally, it was like, hey, he had expectations after the date.
Come on, okay. Because if he paid for you to eat,
you was gonna give him something.
He gonna want dessert.
Okay.
Yeah, he gonna want dessert.
I don't pay for that.
Yeah,
you gonna get
it's gonna be some dessert and some cocktails at the house.
Right. Exactly.
Some cocktails. Okay.
Just some cocktails.
Right.
Okay.
He ain't taking you to the door and just
it's not free. So it's
right.
Yeah, so that's where that roles and traditional thing is another taught behavior, because it's like we even teach our sons, if you take her out on a date, then you pay. My daughter went to the prom with a young man, and his father I saw him give him, the slip of the money and all the things.
The Holy Ghost handshake.
Money. Yeah, with the little secret handshake, got money underneath it.
Yeah.
And I saw him say, take care of everything. I took it as a chivalrous way, because we're not paying no bills, sir. Care how much food your son buy. We don't pay them kind of bills, not yet. Not yet. But traditionally, that's the thing. If you take my daughter out, the expectation is that the young man is going to pay for the meal. Well, in other cultures and other times, as I got older, hey, all right, bet. You got that? Is it 2 checks or 1? 2. You got yours, I got mine. Or some days it might have been I got both or he got both. As time went on, as I got older, I realized it ain't always got to be the guy that pays. It doesn't always have to be that exchange of you, because you paid, now I owe. Because that's a form of prostitution, but that's a whole nother situation, another point of view. But it's almost like if you pay, then I owe you to do that. And it's like, you don't have to teach the traditional, if you do this, it's almost not a fair exchange of like a transactional situation. Yeah,
or it becomes transactional. And
right.
That's the only thing that it is. Yeah.
There you go. Then it's like, okay, because I paid you for food, now you owe me a little light something.
It ain't light. It ain't light.
We're still stuck in the marriage tradition. It's not 50-50. In the marriage tradition, things have changed a great deal, but historically it was, she get married, he went out and spent money on the ring, but the bride's family is responsible for paying for everything.
Right.
And of course that was, the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant type of folk. But then we had Black African back in the day traditions where, okay, if you're going to marry my daughter, here is 2 cows and a goat and some sugar cane.
Yep.
And if you divorce her and bring her back home, you need to bring back what I get, 2 cows, a goat, and the sugar cane. Now, you may have gotten a herd of cow and a herd of goat out of her while she was with you.
That's right.
I can't take that away from you, but I can't ask you to return back to me what I gave you when I gave you my daughter if you bring her back. Because there was, they didn't call it divorce, but you could send her back home to the manufacturer if you wanted to. Right. Yeah. So those things keep changing and keep evolving. And then when you look at 2 women or 2 men who are getting married, it's like, okay, so who's responsible? And it's like funny when you go to the wedding and they're like, they still haven't moved from, are you here for the bride? Are you here for the groom? They scratch their head because they don't know how to say it, instead of saying, listen, sit where you want to sit.
Listen, okay?
Sit where you want to sit. Now, of course, if it's Jose's family, they're going to sit over here. If it's Raymond's family, they're going to sit over there because they use the word family. Now, are they saying family and friends of Raymond and family and friends of Jose? Or, so we have to move people away from some of those terminologies and traditional stuff, because that makes a difference as well. And
people can be friends with both of y'all.
Exactly. And then
I like that you said
what am I supposed to sit in the middle of the aisle?
Yes. Yes.
Because here we are getting ready to get married. Yeah, and you got to say, which side are you on, bride or the groom? And it's like, so I'm on the bride. So it's almost like, even to the point of the marriage, we are still 50-50, because my girls or whoever is on my side, his folk over here on his side. So it's like, are y'all warring it out at the wedding? Because, like, we're here to unite. So, like, y'all should be able to sit where you want to sit. But it's like, nah, that's Bonquisha. She my girl no matter what. Nah, that's Raymond. He my dude no matter what. I'm down with her. And it's like, okay, we're going to fight, because it's supposed to be coming together. It's your friends and my friends and your family, my family. And that carries on into the marriage or the unity as well, because they haven't married, just we have. And so it's still the 50-50 mindset goes on into parts of the marriage again, because it's like, that's my family. This is your family. And it's like, okay, but that certificate say it's all our family. So
wouldn't that be dope if, like, at the wedding, at a certain point in the wedding, that all the parties got up on both sides and they intermingled and meshed together, like right when the bride and the groom, or the groom and the groom, or the bride and the bride say "I do," and then everybody comes together and they intermingle. That would be kind of dope.
That would be cool, because
isn't that what they do at the reception?
His auntie for the next 20 years, because she was over there. That's his mean auntie. It's like, dude, you're gonna see that woman for quite some time.
Lord willing.
All I know is let Bonquisha sit wherever she wants.
Let Bonquisha sit wherever,
because his name like Bonquisha.
I'm not arguing.
Let grandma. Yeah. And your grandmothers might want to know each other. So it's almost at the wedding, we create this divide of, like, still, even though we came together, it's almost like we create this division at a point of unity where it's like, your people sit over there, my people sit over here. And then we like the feuding kinfolk for the remainder of the marriage. Because, like, I saw her side-eyeing me at the... What you talking about? Like,
people...
So
there's too much
at the
going
lighting
on.
of the candle, everybody should, like you said, come together and be like, kumbaya, what's up? I'm his auntie. This is this, blah, blah, blah. So we can get to know each other. So then there is not that ongoing sense of his aunt, my aunt, his this and his that, or her this and her that.
Right.
Because weddings are already stressful as it is. And I say that as a person that's never been in one, just been on the outside of it, and so that leads me to this question. So in this theory concept of 50-50, when it comes down to the emotional part, how does this apply? How do we apply 50-50 when it comes to supporting each other emotionally? And is that such a thing?
You can't. You can't, because there is. So if I look at each one of us, poured in our vessels are mom, dad, grandma, granddaddy, society, friends, television, life experience. I handle those one way. You handle those another way. So how I handle and how I deal with things is going to be different than how you handle things and how you deal with things. Did you come from the South? Did you come from the North? What neighborhood were you raised in? Were you raised with two parents or one parent? Were they abusive? Were they not abusive? All of those things are stirred in that pot that made you. To look for you in another person is erroneous out the gate. And so when you look for equality on an emotional level, it's damn near impossible. Because if they try to match you, then it begins to be fake. Because I'm only doing this because I'm trying to get up to where you are, so I'm not being me. The way I deal with life, the way I deal with death, how was that taught to me? How was it taught to you? When I disagree, do I yell and scream at you because that's the way I was raised and that's how I got what I wanted? When I yelled and screamed, people backed off and gave me what I wanted. And so now you yelling and screaming at someone who says, oh, really? That's what we doing? We yelling and screaming? Okay, until you calm down, I'm not talking to you. And that person, now they scratching their sideburns because they're like, wait a minute. Everybody else backed down and gave me what I wanted. You're challenging me. You're standing flat foot in front of me saying, I know good and well you're not raising your voice at me. Have you lost your mind? Also, especially when it becomes women, male and female, or even male and female, because my sister could sling a brother across 4 dining room chairs. So with her partner, he
What's her
can't
name?
come to the
Bonquisha.
table. Right. He can't come to the table thinking that he is going to treat her a certain way, verbally, emotionally, physically, mentally. She's just not having it. She could be the most loving person on the planet, but, and me, you don't want that Ram to come out. You don't want that Mars influence to show up, because I don't. Because I know what it does. I know what it does to me later. So I don't even, want that to happen. So on an emotional level, no, because it's you. It's who you are. Now, how do you work on those things emotionally that may not be becoming? Because some of them might be defense mechanisms. Some of them may be things that you adapted or adopted to get through life. And so now here comes your partner who, skips along, happy, joyful. The house is on fire and they're like, it's okay. Our insurance is paid. We'll be all right. Let's just get out the house. We'll sit on the curb till they put the fire out. Then we'll call the insurance company. Where you run around going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And so the person's like, baby, it's okay. We got insurance. We're fine. That person's bandwidth is not the same as yours. It's a different, you got an iPhone 7 and they got an iPhone 19. They can't do the same things. Are you going to upgrade that 7, to match that person's 18? So I think that, me personally, I don't believe from my life experiences and from others that emotional piece, you can't do 50-50. You just got to see what they're bringing to the table, and maybe through talking to one another in communication and some therapy, which is good, can help you understand how can we get some balance here. But you are who you are and I'm who I am, and how we deal with things. You can't tell me how to deal with stuff. You could be supportive. Don't tear up our dishes when you're mad. Let's sit down and talk about it, because you're not throwing things through this house. So there's certain boundaries that you can put in place for emotional situations, good, bad, or indifferent. Because just because somebody's being emotional don't mean it's a bad thing, because I sit and cry at TV shows, but, and I'm still a man, so I think it depends on, I know I would say no to that. If I had to cast a vote, no. There's no 50-50 in the emotional aspects of a relationship.
Okay.
Yeah, I would have to agree. The iPhone analogy is really good. Capacity.
Right.
Then you think about
Good word.
well, thank you. You have to think about whether that person can handle that. If there's grief after grief after loss after loss after loss for me, but then that person's not losing family, they're not losing anything, and it's like they don't know that loss. I can't expect what I would do from them. Now, empathy and compassion, of course, because it's human, usually people have some form of empathy or compassion or compassion.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't expect that person to have the same level of empathy and compassion for me that I would have for them, because I don't know everybody's bandwidth and everybody's capacity does not reach the same. If somebody dies close to you, because I've been through things similar, I would have a different capacity versus somebody who has not. Those are things that you learn when things do happen. And then you're like, bro, I'm over here bawling my face off. Like, what is going on? Like, I'm literally like putting it down over here, picking it up right here, holding, and nobody's saying, and it's almost like you got to take a minute and say, wait a minute. They don't know that world.
Mm-hmm.
So for you to expect them, so you have to really like swallow it and be like, okay, listen, right now, I need somewhere I can like go, where I can I need a soft place to land.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And if they've not experienced that ever before or had to be that ever before, then that's where that grace comes from. So it's really hard to do the 50-50 thing when the levels of hurt, pain, anxiety, stress, worry, trauma is not the same for you as it has been or is for me.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can't
That's
expect
a good point.
you from me and you can't expect me from you.
Exactly.
So it's sort of like, okay, you want me to know exactly what that feels like, but I don't know, because like I can't expect my husband to know what it is to not have a dad. He doesn't know that life. I know what that is. I know where that's empty. I know what that lack of the thing is. And so I can't expect him to know, well, you ought to know where to fill in, because ma'am, you got to be able to say, hey, that part right there, that makes me feel some kind of way. And I know it's probably like daddy. They're right there, probably like a daddy thing. But give me a hot minute. Let me get me together on that right there. I'm feeling something right there. So hold on a minute. That comes with introspection. But I can't expect you to know that part of my deficits and expect you to fill that in when you don't even know what that is.
Right.
So I can't expect that 50-50, 100% exchange of like knowing exactly what that is with you if I don't know what that is at all.
And
So
then
it's sort of like
you hit the nail on the head, because I still have my dad. He just turned 87, and we talk all the time. My husband lost his dad about 3 years ago. And I initially was like wondering, how do I talk to my dad and be laughing on the phone with my dad and talking trash with my dad on the phone if he's sitting on the couch and he no longer has his dad? Do I now get up and leave the room? Because now I think I'm taking something away from him. I'm not being with him. I'm not being there. I'm not being present because I got to take off because I'm on the phone with my dad. So then I said, I'm not doing that to me and I'm not doing that to him. So I'm like, let's sit down and talk about, well, how do you feel when when my dad calls or when I'm talking to my dad? So it's a teaching moment. And it's like, oh, I'm good, I'm okay. I'm like, don't tell me that just because that's what you think I want to hear. How do you feel about that for real? And so then it's still not 50-50 because his daddy's gone. And internally, he's feeling something. He may share 100%, he may not. But I'm over here and you're over there. And even if my father does transition, I still can't go to him and say, I know how you feel. No, I don't. Because my relationship with my dad could have been totally different than the relationship with yours. So I don't tell people, oh, yeah, I know how you feel. That's that's crap. It's just pure unadulterated traditional crap that people need to, wean themselves from.
Yeah.
So no, I totally concur with you.
No, thanks.
Okay.
Yeah. So
did you, Jeff, did you want to add anything to your question? Or are you good?
Well, I've got one thing. So I
Okay.
think we've kind of agreed that 50-50 is not realistic. But I do have one thing that I want to kind of ask about that, since if we can agree that that's not a realistic goal, how do we differentiate between that and strict equality? Like, how would you suggest people that feel that it's got to be 50-50, if they haven't learned anything from this podcast and this discussion, how would you steer a person that has that belief still away from that?
Away from what? The 50-50?
From the 50-50
Oh,
process.
I wouldn't. I would actually invite them to embrace it.
Okay.
And embrace it and shape it how it works for you. For example, earlier, Anjeleigh said, I don't want you giving me 50-50 on my phone bill. Either pay the whole thing or I'll pay it my damn self. Whereas someone else says, this home and our relationship is a business. You're my business partner. You have 50% in this partnership. We watch TV every day, Art Imitates Life. And it's like, okay, we are all partners, all the four of us. But Raymond just came on board. He's the virgin. He can't come here expecting to have 25% of this because he just showed up. Before, y'all had split this 3 ways, 33.3. Now here comes Raymond. Y'all losing something if y'all bring Raymond in because now your 33 becomes 25%. So how do we do this so that there is equality and equity? Because somebody else may say, I ain't trying to split none of mine with Raymond. I ain't doing that. And so then you two are responsible to say, okay, so what percentage of our stake in this company do we give over to Raymond? So how do we do this? And so I would definitely invite them to embrace the 50%. But where do you incorporate it in your relationship, in your life, in your world, in your affairs? How do you incorporate this 50-50? And Darius started us off saying, historically, and today, it's in our finances. And so the things that we pay for, and it's going to be individual for everybody. It's going to be different for everybody. How do we incorporate this 50-50? And I think the key word is we, because if you come to the table saying, this is what we going to do, and it's all about you. But then it could be all about you because you're like, listen, if they want to be with me, they're going to have a JLB. They got to have a cat, a career, apartment, and transportation. And if you got a cat and I got a cat, we can get our cats together and make a rub, what. So some people come to the table that way, now, and I think that's great. But is your C in cat, is your career a job? Or are you Ubering? Are you working in corporate? Are you got 6 figures? You make it 65. Your A in cat, your apartment, is it under a tree? Is it a tree house? Is it a loft? Is it a condo? Is it a mansion? You got a roof over your head. And your transportation, is it MARTA? Is it a car? Is it somebody coming to pick you up? Is it Uber? So now you got your cat. And you done showed up to the table with your cat, and I got my cat. And how do we make this work? And so sit down. My advice would be sit down, talk about it. What works for you? And before you jump this broom, and the broom doesn't have to be the broom of marriage. It could be the broom of moving in as roommates. How do you jump this? But before you jump it, let's sit down and have a conversation. And most of the time, people don't do that. Even when you got 3 roommates, I'm thinking if I'm paying $1,000 a month and 2 brothers is going to move in with me, I'm going to recalculate that. I'm going to still be to pay my $1,000 up front, but $350 need to come from you and $350 need to come from you. I can put that in the bank and collect interest, but I'm going to pay my whatever takes care of this house. Let's look at how we're going to do this, because we're going to all use what's being provided under this roof. And how do we make that work? Y'all may come with your own cell phone, so that's on y'all. But everything else, the utilities, roof over our head, even groceries, so that we're not going like, ooh, that was my hot dog. I don't think I could live that way. I don't think I could do it.
That was my hot dog.
Yeah. When I first moved here, when I first moved here a couple of years ago, when I first moved here 20-something years ago, They told me, Raymond, everybody in Atlanta, and I wasn't even living in Atlanta, everybody in Atlanta got 2 jobs and 3 and 4 roommates. And I was like, I'm trusting the God of my understanding is not going to do that to me. And I didn't have to have that experience. And knock on wood. But for those who do, my advice to them would be, start with a plan. So that then you're not feeling down the road like Darius. Did I spend $100 on lunch, on dinner, and I got nothing out of this date? And it was a waste, and I didn't even like the food. And so it's like when the 2 roommates leave, do you say, man, they just used me and took advantage of me, and I couldn't wait to get rid of them, and I'm never going to do that again. Now you're bitter. And now you've got to heal from that. And the next person that comes along that genuinely needs your help and would be a good roommate, now you're closed off and say, I'm never doing this again because of an experience you had, because you didn't sit down up front and talk this thing through and let people know what the expectations were and the consequences if you don't come through. Because there's consequences.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask one final question, and I'm going to start with Anjeleigh on this one. And it's going to be it's going to be a little weird. I'm going to set it up a little bit though. We talked a little bit about roles and unlearning roles within relationships and stuff like that. But if there are situations where one person provides more or earns more or something in a relationship, do you feel that masculinity or like masculine energy shows up differently depending on who is the provider in that space?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes. You want me to elaborate, or you just want
Sure.
Okay.
And the reason I wanted to start with you is because while the idea of masculinity probably could lean a little bit more toward same-sex relationship, but what I have seen a lot is, and there's a lot of other conversation and debate about how women don't know how to play or don't know how to harness their feminine energy because they've been providers and they've been, protectors for so long that they don't know how to do that. So I wanted to know, maybe from a female's perspective, if that masculine energy still kind of shows up in those spaces.
Yeah, so it's as time goes, y- and you mature and you learn that you have learned some things a little bit out of order because you're raised with, oh, you don't need. And the minute that you see that check hit that box and you've been taught he ain't gotta know, you come in with your system of he doesn't need to know your salary. He doesn't need to know blah, blah, blah. It's a lot of that. And it's like, this is my, and this is this. And it's like, I do. And you almost become, as a woman, you almost become, I don't need a man. I can do this by myself. I got a house. I got kids. And so it's like, you have to, as you grow and mature, even when you don't make as much as he does, you still have sometimes when you will have those moments of like, okay, I can do this by myself, but girl. And then when you do literally make more than your husband or mate, it can be humbling to say, I'm not going to say I make blah and he makes blah, because now it doesn't matter that I make 6 figures and he doesn't, because in a minute, when we get down to finish paying for all the things that we pay together, the children, the this, the tuition, the that, the need this, the need that, to go here, to get that, to need gas, to get this. By the time we literally make the same thing. By the time we get all of what we do together, it really equals out to be the same.
Okay.
But you don't know that that's happening until you evolve and you mature. And then you start to not docile and become like, yes, a boss. You're not like that, but it's like, you know what? Okay, I gotta drop my card. We eating, I'm gonna put the card down. The card is the joint account card, or the card is my card. But okay, the card. But we all ate. Everybody ate. So whether it be I'm making more money in this season, okay, I ain't gonna be a dude to be like, yeah, homie, I'm making all that money. I'm not. It's not gonna be that type of party. And then if I'm not, I'm gonna be like, oh my gosh, can I have the purse? It's not gonna be that kind of like that stuff. It's like, okay, you know what? We know what we working with. Okay, I know I'm gonna drop the card because hey, that's what I'm doing in this season. If you switch up, that's what you're doing in this season. Drop the card. It doesn't matter who's doing that part. But it is the evolving to getting there and not doing that whole, I'm doing this and I'm the man. You're not the man in the house. I'm the man because girl, you're not the man in the house. Your check just a little longer than he is, but it's shorter than his because you still got to feed everybody. Everybody still got to eat. Yeah. So it's almost like it changes that whole gruffness of you unlearn the thing of this is my and I don't need it. You take that out as time goes on, and it's a unlearning of that thing, and it's humbling to have that experience of like I'm earning more than he is, and yeah, my check, but honestly, that thing's spinning just as fast as he is. So it's really not about I'm the man because I'm never gonna be the man. He's the man, like God, the man, us. That's just how that's written. So it's never gonna be me, and then him, and then the kids. It's always gonna be God, the man, the kids. That's how it is. I wear pants. He wear pants too. So it's that whole thing. Again, it goes back to them roles and traditions.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ray, did you want to add anything to that?
So I think she covered it well. And while she was talking, I was trying to, see if I saw or heard something that would be different. And the only thing that would come up that would be different, so I'm not repeating something she said already, are those individuals who come to the table saying, I want to take care of someone. They don't need to work. They just need to be home when I get there. But I believe that comes with some caveats. Because someone wanted to date me, and they were managing these two big time entertainers that everybody in the world knows. And they wanted me to come move with them to California. And I was like, I need to find a job first. And they were like, no, you don't. I was like, yes, I do. And it's like, no, we got a nice house. It's on the beach. You can go play tennis. You can swim. You can enjoy your life. You can do this, that, and the third. I say, yeah, until I don't dance to your music. And then you put me out. And then I'm on the beach, and then they call the police and says a homeless man on the beach, and all of these, the domino effect of that. So I need to have my own. So I'm looking at care, welfare, safety, and security. And a lot of people don't look at that. So yeah, it might be nice to have someone take care of you and provide your every need for you. But I would tell that person, if they're one of your listeners tonight, I would tell that individual, when that person gives you money, open up you a private bank account somewhere. That shoe may never drop. That other shoe may never drop. But in case it does, and they put you out in the street in the middle of the night in the winter, you can call your Uber. You can go get a hotel room until the morning when you can start looking for a place of your own, because you got a bank account set aside somewhere just for emergency purposes, because you never know. And if that person falls off the planet tomorrow, did they make provisions for you? And so we want, not we on this call, I don't know, I can't speak for everybody else, I speak for myself. Having someone to provide everything that you possibly need for you, so that there's no 50-50 concept. It is, this person is taking care of me. And there's some folks out there that want to be taken care of. Let's be real.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, how long does that last? And how long has it last? And what has been the consequences of that relationship? And consequence is a two-way street. There's good consequences and there's bad consequences. And so I'm not knocking that, because we have a lot of people who across all genres, who want, and all genders, who want someone to take care of them. Then we have a lot of folks out there who want to be the caregiver. I just finished watching this movie, Pillion, for the third time. And so that dynamic alone shows how in today's culture, we still have people who want to take care of folk. However, what does that look like? And so that 50-50 goes out the window because this person steps up to the plate saying, I want to do it all. I want to do everything. I want to do it all for you. Make sure you got everything you need. And you ain't got to work. You ain't got to do this. You ain't got to clean up nothing. We're going to hire a maid. We're going to hire a housekeeper. We're going to do all of this. And it's not we, it's you doing all of this because you got the purse. And you won't let me get my own purse. And so that's another aspect of, when you're talking about relationships and partnerships and friendships, how does this show up? And then you're sitting around the house going, okay, so what do I do? What is my role here? Because, that question's going to come up. Not that you're the man and that person's the woman, but what do I do? Because they do everything. And they're giving and I'm taking. And if my role is to take, then okay. And then if you leave that relationship and go to the next one, that next person probably ain't going to be doing that for you. But if that's where you come from, that's going to be problematic in your next relationship.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Jeff, did you want to add anything to that or?
No, I think he wrapped it up. I don't have anything else that I couldn't add differently
to that. Right.
Yes.
So, well, we are about to wrap up. So before I close everything out, I want to make sure that I acknowledge that you two have been awesome guests to have on here tonight. Your perspectives have been very welcome. And I hope that people who are listening and watching this episode will kind of take stock in some of the beliefs and some of the values and some of the teachings that they have about how relationships are supposed to work, and they'll really start to interrogate those and really say, okay, you know what, maybe there are some things that I need to unlearn there. So for everybody else, what we've learned tonight is that a relationship is not solely about splitting everything down the middle. It's about building something where both people feel secure, where they feel valued, and where they feel supported. And sometimes that looks like 50-50. Sometimes it looks like 70-30. And then sometimes it may look like one person carrying the whole weight for a season because that may be what love requires at that time. So if you're keeping a strict score, you may want to ask yourself why. If you're afraid of being used, say that. If you want to be taken care of, own that. If you're scared of carrying someone, be honest about that too. Because love and relationships really isn't about math. It's about mindset. It's about whether you see your partner as a teammate or a liability. At the end of the day, healthy love shouldn't be transactional. It should be reciprocal. And reciprocity does not mean equality at every moment. It does mean intentionality, mutuality, and evolution. So really, the real question is not, are we going 50-50? But maybe the real question is, are we both all in? And if the answer is yes, then the numbers will figure themselves out.
All right.
Appreciate
Okay, well, that's a wrap for this episode of Just Drawz. We hope you felt the love, laughed a little, and maybe learned something new.
Now, remember that the conversation does not stop here. Again, we want you to really come into our comments, and I'm sure and I'm hoping that we'll get a lot of people who will come in and talk to us about their relationships and what they feel 50-50 is. So follow us individually or at the Just Drawz podcast. Stop in, tell us your stories, share your opinions, or just say, hey, let's go half.
Until then, just be bold, just be beautiful, and most importantly, just be 100% at the table.
Okay, and we will catch y'all next time.
Peace.
make sure you subscribe and share the show, because the algorithm only listens when you all make noise.
Follow us on social media, tap in with the community, and keep the conversation going.
We look forward to seeing you and
hearing from you. Peace.